So today we are going to start building the application right from the scratch. So I'm going to remove this presentation because we already have gone through it. So let me just close it. Save it and save. Okay, so if you want the presentation, just let me know by leaving a comment. I'm going to remove all of this. So just remind you, this is what we want to do, starting from the scratch, from the bare scratch, step by step, with no step skipped. So this is it. We are going to do this right now. So I'm going to close it. I'm going to stop Visual Studio. I'm going to close it as well so that we actually start from the scratch. All right, so this is our starting point. This is the data we have. It's named people data. If you want this data, check the description box. You'll see a link to it. So the first thing you are going to do, open SQL Server. SQL. So open Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. If you don't have SQL Server Management Studio, you can download it for free. If you want to download it, just go to the site. So just find SQL Server Management Studio free. So if you come here, you are going to see a free version of SQL Server Management Studio. So if you come here, not this. So just go down and come here and you see SQL Server 2017 full-featured free edition license as development. So download this and that'll be fine. Don't download the Express. The Express doesn't have much of the features we need. After that, then you also come to download SMS. Sorry, not here. So just come to downloads here. Downloads and come down to server tools here. So you come to server tools and then you download this SQL or Server Management Studio and install it. That's all. So if you have any problem, just let me know. So just close this. All right. So me, I've installed it. So I just go to opening to SQL Server. So open SQL Server Management Studio. Just as I mentioned, you are not going to write any single line of code. So for now, I'm going to teach you how to import this Excel file into SQL Server. So here you have databases. So you can see the node databases right there. So right click on it and just say new database. That's all you need to do. Just call it tutorial DB. Okay, so tutorial DB. So that is fine. So if we open it, we can see tutorial DB created. So now we want to use this Excel file in this database. So what you do is right click on the database you created and just say, go to tasks and say import data. Once again, right click on the name of the database and go to tasks and just say import data. So in import data, you just click next and then select your data source. So data source means where do you want the data to come from? We want the data to come from this Excel file. So we want to import Excel data. So what you are going to do, drop down and select Microsoft Excel. And then browse here to select the file path. So I have it already here. So if you download it and save to your document, for sure you find where you saved it and just open. So at this point, remember we are choosing a data source. So it's coming from Excel and we want to move it to tutorial DB. So the next thing, we want to choose a destination. So our destination is going to be Microsoft SQL Native Client 11. So it's always at the last point in the list. So click on it and it tells you select a database and the database is listed here. And select the database you want, and that is tutorial DB. If you have any problem with these steps, just let me know in the comments. Also remember to subscribe. Click on the subscribe button below. So just go next. So So now it tells you copy data from one or more tables. Just go next. And then our data is in sheet 1. As you can see in the data, this is sheet 1. So that is where our data is located. So we select sheet 1. We can preview the mapping if you want. So you have this. So what we are going to do, we are going to tell we are going to tell Visual Studio that we are going to, okay, so we have we have everything is okay, so just go next. Somehow it's going to understand that the first row contains the header, so just go next and say finish, and everything runs perfectly. So if we open the tutorial DB, if you go to tables, you are going to see sheet 1. So just click on it, right click on it, and just say rename. Rename it to, let's say, I want to call it people because it's just a list of people names. So if we open it, select. So somehow is trying to, okay, we are going to correct this at a different time. So we're having F1, F2, F3 to be the names of the columns. We are going to correct this at a different time. So what we are going to do is to just go to design. So simply add a column that is going to be the primary key. So just call it ID and just set it to ints, right? So add it to be ID and set it to what? To ints. So what you are going to do next, you have to make it to automatically increment. So you don't have to be assigning this ID every time. So select ID and then come to identity specification here and say yes. So if you don't say yes, then it's not going to work. It's not going to automatically increment. So the next thing you are going to do is to set this as a primary key. So I've set the ID as a primary key. Alright, so now our data is ready. So if you right click on DBO people and select top 100, you see that it selects. But somehow, let's just work on this data so that we just give it a reasonable column name. I'm going to look at the Excel sheet again. You have first name, last name, country, address, and city. First name, last name, country, address, and city. So just give it the names like this. Delete the first F1 because it's about the same as the ID. So just go ahead to delete it. So this is what we have, and we've completed the first part of importing this data into Microsoft Excel. So I can go ahead to close close Microsoft SQL Server. The next thing I'm going to do is to open Visual Studio and start a new solution. Alright, so what you are going to do is to just click on File and say New Project. So you need to pay attention to this part because it's very important. So if in the left part, click on Web and select ASP.NET Web Application. So give it a name. Under name, give it a name. I'm calling it tutorial 2. That is the name, and you can actually leave every other thing the way it is, but okay, I can save it in a folder or I can leave it the way it is. So let's just leave it the way it is and just click OK. So in this place, we are discussing entity framework with MVC. So MVC is selected and just leave it that way, and then go ahead to create your project. So it creates a new project after a couple of seconds, and then we are good to go. Remember, we are not writing any line of code. If you have any question, leave in the comments and I'm going to answer it immediately. As we wait, remember to click on the subscribe button to subscribe immediately so that you can receive notification. So here in Solution Explorer, you can see a number of things. You can see a number of things here. You can see controllers, you can see models, and you can see views. So if you did this, then you already did this part correctly. Alright, so the next thing we are going to do is to add entity framework to this application. We actually added MVC, but this time we are going to add entity framework. I have time constraint and I'm going to stop here. Let's continue in tutorial 3 as we add entity framework and then complete this application. I'd like to thank you for viewing.